Hello and welcome to the second channel for Tales from the Trip. I'm your host, the Trip Keeper, and on today's video, we're going to be reading some disturbing facts that will most likely keep you up at night. Maybe they won't. Maybe you'll fall asleep in 3, 2, 1. All right. We fell asleep. What time is it? 3 in the morning? Holy shit, man. No, it is 7:50 p.m. I got my Miller High Life today. We are celebrating not being at work because I was there all day. But I, 2 second channel video in a row in 2 days, like that's a record for me, boy. No, I don't think that's a record, but if people come here from a different, they don't even know about this channel, I'm not gonna continue on with this bullshit. So let's get into this. This is an Ask Reddit. What is a scary or horrifying fact that shouldn't be true but is? Question mark. Now I kind of love these kind of videos. It's usually TTS voices reading them. Like there's a couple that I've listened to with real voices, but it could be refreshing that an actual human is reading this and not some fucking guy named Bernard who was created by Bernard. I don't know. That'd be crazy. Maybe that's where they get their names from. The people who actually create that TTS voice, that AI, that's what they name their voice off. Because they got like Kimberly, Chase, all these people. Maybe that was their real name. And that's what they want to sound like. Or that is their real voice. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. Maybe that's a disturbing fact right there. Bet you didn't know that. Now, I know a lot of these. I've heard them before. Well, I don't know on here, but they usually have the same ones. So yeah, this first one right here, I literally cannot stand it when I see it in a video. It is the brain-eating amoeba, and everyone knows that by now. I get so pissed off when they bring it up. It's like it's in a different thread, different video, and it's always number one on there. All right, we get it. You go into a fucking lake or something, whatever, warm water, doesn't matter, and you get a brain-eating amoeba go up your fucking nose and you die. It's disturbing, but I mean it's a fact I think everyone knows now, so I'm not gonna go into it. But yeah. You could have mad cow disease for 12 to 50 years before symptoms start showing. Another one that I've heard of before. Yeah, but you probably don't. There's probably some people maybe who have it, but yeah, you got the prions in the brain and shit. It is pretty scary, I guess. But this is facts that shouldn't be true, but like I feel like it should be, because it's mad cow disease, right? All right, this is multiple ones. Long dormant bacteria and viruses trapped in ice and permafrost for centuries are reviving as Earth's climate warms. Actually, yes, that's a very that's one I'm kind of afraid of. Like the Thing movie, where it was trapped in ice for how many thousands of years, or was it millions? I forgot. But that's what happened. It came out, and all hell broke loose. Imagine if something like that happened. I don't think it would be like that, but it could be metaphorically like that. Just like a really just a deadly COVID, deadlier than what it was. It kills like everybody, not just like people who are, prone to getting those sicknesses. Even though some people who got COVID, they don't usually get sick or they don't feel bad, but some people died, rest in peace to those people. But yeah, something like that again. Just a virus we don't know because we never tackled it before. And then, I don't know if the antibiotics thing is going to be on here, but just the fact that these viruses are learning how to attack these antibiotics, like that's kind of scary to me too. Like what if we're taking these antibiotics and then it just won't do anything in the future because the viruses and bacteria, like, fuck you, I've already been through this shit. My dad fucking defeated this thing in Vietnam. But yeah, it's a little scary to think about that. That's one I don't see, listed on here too often, so I'm happy about that. Gamma ray bursts, yes, it can kill all life on Earth without any warning. Definitely can, but I don't know if that's disturbing. It's honestly probably a good way to go, because you won't even know when you're gone. You may have like not even a millisecond realization. Like there will be no realization, but I feel like you'll feel it though, just for like really quick second. I don't know. Now I'm thinking it might happen as I'm speaking. Could you imagine that right now? Dude, well, this video would not get uploaded, that's for sure. But I guess that is a little scary to think about that could just happen at any moment. It's just like getting shot, you know? You're just walking down the street and you get shot out of nowhere. Um, but yeah, just dying right away, evaporating. Like, it doesn't sound like too bad of a death. Everyone gets the same fate over quick and easy. It's just the fact that it could happen when you're young. Because when you're old, I guess they're probably praying for a gamma ray burst to happen. But now, you know, you don't want that to happen. You still have all your life to get through, and you feel like you haven't done what you wanted to do yet. And you're trying to do it, but you're just putting it off. If you want to go do something, go do it. Asteroids can mess Earth up. I think that is true. Yeah, they can. Um, some monks used to endure a spiritual practice whereby they eliminated all their body fat through diet and exercise, ate wood lacquer tea to kill off internal bacteria, then sealed themselves in a tomb holding a string attached to a bell. A year after the bell stopped ringing, the tomb was opened, and if the monk's body was found to be uncorrupted, they were revered as a saint. If not, they were reburied. The process took years, and as they continued, the monks required more and more help from their brothers until they entered the tomb. And the whole time you'd hear bells ringing from the nearby tombs as the monks inside slowly wound down the last days of their lives, voluntarily poisoned, starved, and buried alive for a chance at sainthood. I have heard of that too, just not as much as like nothing will top the fucking brain-eating amoeba, but yeah, that is kind of scary to think about. They're just ringing, like they're purposely doing that to themselves. Like, I mean, if they strongly believe that, like, I mean, I guess no one's gonna stop you. Like, if you're having a good time, but I feel like that would just not be fun. You know, being trapped. Being buried alive is probably one of the worst deaths that can happen to you. Like, would you take that over drowning, or would drowning be worse? Like, drowning sounds terrible. Getting started on fire sounds terrible. There's a lot of bad ways to go, but gamma ray burst and dying in your sleep, those sound like pretty positive executions, if you ask me. But yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why they would do that. Like, I understand where they're coming from from their mindset, but not normal people's mindset. So, this person said, "What if the bell never stopped ringing and the other monks became terrified to reopen the tomb?" Yeah, that is scary to think about. In 2009, a paralyzed Belgian awoke from a 23 years long coma, and it was discovered he was fully conscious and could hear everything around him the entire time. Like, what the actual fuck? Just imagine lying there not being able to move for 2 decades, but also being aware of your surroundings. That's all kinds of messed up nightmare fuel right there. Yeah, that is scary. Would it feel like 23 years? Like, probably. I mean, if you're hearing everything around you, or was it exaggerated a little bit? Not, it's still scary no matter if it was exaggerated or not, but like, man, just imagine. I mean, that's like being blind for 23 years in your sleep, but they're just constant conversations. I mean, at least you would know if when you did wake up, you would know how you were treated. Like, if the doctors weren't talking shit about you, like, you know, the videos that get released about doctors making jokes and stuff, that pisses me off. They all deserve to get fired for that. Because you're a doctor, the patient probably acting up because they just got a diagnosis they don't want to hear or surgery they have to do, and you're making fun of them because you're a little freaking cunt. That's what you are. But doctors are cool, you know, most of them. There's a couple. I mean, that's about any job you can go to. Like, any job, there's a lot of cocksuckers, but most of them are pretty okay. But yeah, I couldn't imagine being there for 23 years, not being able to do anything, just having to listen to the things around me, and like, yeah, that wouldn't sound fun to me at all. There is more actual lemon juice in lemon scented pledge spray than there is in country time lemonade. That's actually, I guess that is kind of disturbing. Damn, I'm gonna start drinking pledge spray. I'm gonna have a video on it pretty soon here. I'm gonna do the absolute horror of drinking lemon scented pledge spray. Or should I huff it? Put in the comment section below, should I huff it or drink it? 60% of murders are unsolved here in Pakistan. We simply don't have the technology and training of the police officers in the West. Laughs in Brazilian, cries in South African. But you can't see the tears because the lights are out. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't even want to know how many murders are in Brazil. That just there's a lot. You guys ever see the movie City of God? That was a great movie. I honestly thought it was real after watching. I'm like, damn, is this like a documentary? Not a because it was not a documentary. Or is it like based off of true events? I mean, it probably is based off of some truth there because it is just so realistic, that movie, and there's just so many deaths, and it's a crazy movie. I need to watch that again. It's been a while. The youngest person confirmed to be pregnant was only 5 years old. Yeah, that's a little scary to think about. I don't even know how they would like. How do they even explain that? Like, I'm pregnant. I'm gonna have to have this baby, but I'm only 5. Do they know how to fucking push? Like, will they be able to? I feel like the person would die. Oh, she had a C-section. I guess that makes sense. And she and the baby survived. There's a disturbing number of young girls that have gotten pregnant. Obviously, they didn't get that way by choice. It fucks with my head. Yeah, for some reason, I was not thinking about that until I just read that. Yeah, that is fucked up. Man, yeah. There's some sick monsters out there who do that shit. Like, how do people find pleasure in that? It is just so disgusting. It is worse than murdering someone that young. Like, it is just so gross. And you don't know if there's people around you who've like done something like that before. People keep it a secret that they've been abused when they were kids or whatever, because it's not something you want to tell people. But you don't know if there's like actual, these criminals who are out there. They could be like anybody, because it's just like, it's not something, of course, you want to tell people. But you just don't know. It's just like that fact where you walk past like 7 serial killers in your lifetime. Like, I wonder how many fucking I don't want to say it on YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. Those kind of people, when you walk by them, like, how many people do you walk by with that? Like, that's kind of a scary thought to think about. And there's people who are just like so nasty, and then there's these people that are getting caught talking to 12-year-old girls. It's like, dude, or boys, whatever it could be. I mean, it's the any way around for that. It's just nasty. They seriously deserve. I wouldn't even say the death sentence, because you should be suffering for that. You should be in jail for the rest of your life with no opportunity to even hang yourself or do anything to kill yourself, because you deserve to rot if you do something like that. Sickening. In the NT, Australia, I remember seeing a government warning that crocodiles inhabit the area. Among the few bullet points of advice on the sign, the last one read, "If they see you, it is already too late." Yeah, that is, so it's really sweet of them to put this warning last. Yeah, that should be first on the list, I bet they're just having fun with that, honestly. I mean, if you run into one crocodile, I'm sure you can probably be fine, but if there's multiple, oh God. Give it up. You're going to die. Someone said because a crocodile actually wrote it. I could see it. Australian crocodiles, I wouldn't put it past them. The animals over there are just so wild. Like, you see pictures of it. They're huge. Everything is just so scary. Like, living in Australia is a disturbing fact in itself. Not saying Australia is bad. I'm sure it's a lovely place to live. But the animals there, I'm sure you Australians can agree with that. It is probably, you walk outside and you're like, damn, is this the day I'm going to be killed by a dingo? Let's see, what does this say? Oh, that's part of that same thread. An unbelievable number of fresh people who die of dehydration do so with a fair amount of fresh water in their possession. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is kind of crazy if you do have water and you're getting dehydrated, like, what are you waiting for? Just drink that water. But hey, I really don't know about that one. That one is kind of like, that one sounds like people are just stupid, and it's not really that disturbing. Well, I guess this is scary or horrifying. Disturbing, is that different really from horrifying? Or disturbing, I feel like it's like a deep in your soul kind of scary, it like chills you to your bone. Horrifying, it's kind of close to that. Scary is just like, it's scary, but yeah. Snails have thousands of teeth. Did not know that. Now I'm trying to think about that. That is, man, they must be fucking tiny. And just think all the cells that are in those teeth. Just, oh, think about that. All these animals have all these different things inside of them, and there's something inside of that. Me and this one person were talking, we've had this conversation twice about how there's always something inside of something. Like, quarks are known to be the smallest things in the universe. But what makes up a quark? You know, there is something inside of that. I don't know if there's they came out with anything that's smaller than that. Clearly, they're not going to be able to see it. But yeah, if there is, and there's something smaller inside of that, you know, it's just always, it's just like a loop, a loop. That's why when you start tripping or doing something, you start thinking about these thoughts, and then you just can't get out of that. You're just like, damn, what the fuck? I'm trapped in here. And then your mind, you could develop, you know, some serious mental problems from that. You know, that's nothing to joke around about. Like, if you want to have a good trip, just don't think about these questions really, because especially these kind of questions, because when you start investigating like the universe and space or whatever, time, it really starts to fuck with your head. And when you get high, you can like get out of it because it's just being high. But when you're tripping on acid for like how many hours, it's going to be hard to get out of that, especially if you took a high dose. Shrooms, that's over pretty quickly, relatively quicker than acid, like a lot quicker. It only lasts like what, 2 hours. But acid, like, you could be tripping, even though it's not as strong as it was at one point. Like, you'll be tripping for 12 hours. Like, it's not hard for that to happen. What does this say? And apparently, there's one who can grow their body back after decapitation. One particular snail with $1 million. When you get a sunburn, your cells are dying to avoid becoming cancerous. Shout out our cells. That's nice of them, actually. I feel kind of comforted by that they're willing to kill themselves to help us. But if you get sunburn all the time, yeah, it could be bad. Skin cancer is no joke. Skin cancer is no joke. Oh, the dead bodies of climbers on Mount Everest. This one is all over the place. It is just not disturbing to me anymore. Maybe the first time you hear it, but not after the first 50 times you hear it. Where are we? Oh, you know, I know about this. I watched a video on this. One of the experiments the Japanese did during World War II at Unit 731 was cutting off limbs of living, waking people without anesthesia, and sewing these limbs onto other prisoners. Excuse me. They also infected male prisoners with various infectious diseases, then forced them at gunpoint to rape pregnant prisoners to see if the disease would transmit to the baby. That's just all kinds of fucked up. I mean, you know, you think of Japan, you think of just like very, you know, cordial people, very like, you know, strict. We're gonna do this our way. It's gonna be the right way. We got Wagyu beef, sushi, and then you realize they did this shit, and you're like, damn. Well, hopefully they moved on from that. Who knows? Maybe there could be people still doing this out there. There has to be. I mean, there's so much land on Earth that I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like that going on still. Fatal insomnia. I learned it from this other post. I hope I get to sleep tonight. Yeah, fatal insomnia sounds pretty scary. What does this say? The heck is that? Oh, that reminds me about a guy who documented the whole process. Every time he tried to go to sleep, he would jolt himself awake involuntarily, and he would slowly go insane, making several videos mumbling crazy theories and stuff before eventually passing away. The idea of slowly going insane because of lack of sleep is so fucking terrifying to me. It's definitely terrifying to me too. Like, that's one thing I still enjoy, minus the nightmares and sleep paralysis that I get occasionally. But sleeping is just such a fun thing to do, and I feel bad for anyone that can't experience it, like, on a regular basis. It's just, insomniacs, man. I mean, I don't know what you could do. I mean, you can listening to stories online does help, like, just, you know, trying to fall asleep, just listening maybe to rain sounds or whatever. It depends what you really prefer. But there are ways, I think, and you don't want to get addicted to any kind of sleeping pill or like Ambien or anything, because that would just make things worse. And don't take Benadryl. Because people do that. People take that every night, and like, yeah, that's not a good idea. There are more Panda Express locations in the world than actual panda bears. Damn, poor pandas. Pandas are just so cute, and they don't do anything really. They're just fluffy, and they eat bamboo. They're not even supposed to eat it, right? Or koalas aren't supposed to eat eucalyptus, but they do. I think. Oh, I think it's because bamboo is just not. They eat a bunch of it, and yeah, I want to have a panda bear. I feel like I've never seen a mean panda bear. I think they're not smart enough to be mean. Um, Pigs can dispose of a body with relative ease. I'd like to see that. Actually, pigs will eat everything except the teeth. Oh, if they mean by eating it. Okay, well, actually, pigs will eat everything except the teeth. Lobsters, on the other hand, will dispose of the whole body. Shout out lobsters. Lobsters are pretty good. It's definitely an acquired taste, I think, but yeah. Here's a rabies one. Rabies, I'll still read it because rabies still scares the shit out of me. But if a person gets bitten by an animal who has rabies, he will continue to live on a normal life for like 12 weeks, and after the symptoms develop, there's no way he is making it out alive. You'll know you're gonna die. Yeah, once those symptoms hit, like, yeah, you're fucked. The scariest part about it is the hydrophobia, where you're afraid to drink water. You just can't drink it. Your body won't let you. That's just scary how that happens. Like, man, water is just so essential, and that's the. I can't believe there's like these viruses get are on this earth, and humans can contract them, and like, man, it's just crazy that all these things here, they're just looking to, I guess, like, I don't know, maybe like these viruses are just suicidal or something. They just want to die all the time, so they're like, I'm taking you with me. That's just what they got to do. They got to just try to live on and carry on to someone else and die. Like, that's kind of scary to me, just don't. If you're in like a foreign country that is like very unregulated about a lot of stuff, and you get bit by a dog, get that rabies shot right away. If you get bit by a dog in America and it was by a homeowner or something, probably doesn't have rabies. Definitely doesn't. I don't think you're allowed to even get a dog if it has, like, you have to get the proper shots for it. But yeah, I would probably honestly get one as a mailman. I can get bit any day. I almost got bit today, for Christ's sake. They just broke through the screen door, and she's like, "I knew that was gonna happen," and then she blocked him from getting out, and I was not expecting it. I heard the dogs in there. It sounded like an old dog, so I wasn't really worried. Like old dogs, they'll bark, but they can't jump anymore. But this dog came out of nowhere. He wasn't even barking, and yeah, he broke the screen door, and I gave her back the door. I'm like, here you go. But yeah, it's scary to think about. I heard a story about this person in Thailand or something who got like bit by four dogs. I think he got the rabies shot though. So, but if that happened, hey, like, get the shot. And even if the doctor says you don't need it, I would still get it because you never know. I mean, I'm sure he would know, but you never know. mm, what does this say? I'm not gonna read all these symptoms. This is honestly probably something good to read, but um, should I read it? I don't know if I should. Do you guys want to hear rabies symptoms? Fuck it, I'm gonna read it because I like hearing this. Rabies. It's exceptionally common, but people just don't run into the animals that carry it often. Skunks especially, and bats. Don't even talk about skunks with me. Fuck them. Let me paint you a picture. You go camping, and at midday you decide to take a nap in a nice little hammock. While sleeping, a tiny brown bat in the rage stages of infection is fidgeting in broad daylight, uncomfortable and thirsty due to hydrophobia, and you snort, startling him. He goes into attack mode. Except you're asleep, and he's a little brown bat, so weighs around 6 grams. You don't even feel him land on your bare knee, and he starts to bite. His teeth are tiny, hardly enough to even break the skin, but he does manage to give you the equivalent of a tiny scrape that goes completely unnoticed. Rabies does not travel in your blood. In fact, a blood test won't even tell you if you've got it. Antibody tests may be done, but are useless if you've ever been vaccinated. All right, so yeah, basically with the bats, that's a little scary to think about. Like it just happens and you don't even know. Like that's definitely terrifying. And once you realize that it happened, yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do when you go camping? Just go and see if you need a rabies shot every single time you finish camping. Like I don't know. You're not gonna know, but that is scary to think about. You wake up none the wiser. If you notice anything at the bite site at all, you assume you just lightly scraped it on something. The bomb has been lit, and your nervous system is the wick. The rabies will multiply along your nervous system, doing virtually no damage and completely undetectable. You literally have no symptoms. It may be 4 days, it may be a year, but the camping trip is most likely long forgotten. Then one day your back starts to ache, or maybe you get a slight headache. At this point, you're already dead. There's no cure. There's no treatment. It has a 100% kill rate. Absorb that. Not a single other virus on the planet has a 100% kill rate. Only rabies. And once you're symptomatic, it's over. You're dead. So what does that look like? Yeah, that's scary to think about. I think there was one person that survived, but I don't even know if that was true. Yeah, it's basically 100%. I mean, you're gonna die if you get the symptoms. Your headache turns into a fever and a general feeling of being unwell. You're fidgety, uncomfortable, and scared, as the virus that has taken its time getting into your brain finds a vast network of nerve endings. It begins to rapidly reproduce, starting at the base of your brain, where your pons is located. This is the part of the brain that controls communication between the rest of the brain and body, as well as sleep cycles. Next, you become anxious. You still think you only have a mild fever, but suddenly you find yourself becoming scared, even horrified, and it doesn't occur to you that you don't know why. This is because the rabies is chewing up your amygdala. As your cerebellum becomes hot with the virus, you begin to lose muscle coordination and balance. You think maybe it's a good idea to go to the doctor now, but assuming a doctor is smart enough to even run the tests necessary in the few days you have left on the planet, odds are they'll only be able to tell your loved ones that what you died of later. You're twitchy, shaking, and scared. You have the normal fear of not knowing what's going on, but with the virus really fucking the amygdala, this is amplified 100-fold. It's around this time the hydrophobia starts, the scariest part for sure. As I take a sip of my Miller High Life. You're horribly thirsty. You just want water, but you can't drink. Every time you do, your throat clamps shut and you vomit. This has become a legitimate active fear of water. You're thirsty, but looking at a glass of water begins to make you gag and shy back in fear. The contradiction is hard for your hot brain to see at this point. By now, doctors will have to put you on IVs to keep you hydrated, but even that's futile. You were dead the second you had a headache. You begin hearing things, or not hearing things at all as your thalamus goes. You taste sounds, you see smells. Everything starts feeling like the most horrifying acid trip anyone has ever been on. I think rabies would honestly be, way more terrifying than the worst acid trip, I'd have to say. With your hippocampus long under attack, you're having trouble remembering things, especially family. You're alone, hallucinating, thirsty, confused, and absolutely, undeniably terrified. Everything scares the literal shit out of you at this point. These strange people in lab coats, these strange people standing around your bed crying, who keep trying to get you to drink something, and crying. And it's only been about a week since that little headache that you've completely forgotten. Time means nothing to you anymore. Funny enough, you now know how the bat felt when he bit you. Eventually, you slip into the dumb rabies phase. Your brain has started the process of shutting down. Too much of it has been turned to liquid virus. Your face droops. You drool. You're all but unaware of what's around you. A sudden noise or light might startle you, but for the most part, all you can do is just stare at the ground. You haven't really slept for about 72 hours. Then you die. Always, you die. And there's not one fucking thing anyone can do for you. Then there's the question of what to do with your corpse. I mean, sure, burying it is the right thing to do, but the fucking virus can survive in a corpse for years. You could kill every rabid animal on the planet today, and if 2 years from now some moist, preserved, rotten hunk of used to be brain gets eaten by an animal, it starts all over. So yeah, rabies scares the shit out of me, and it's fucking everywhere. And that was copied by you hot doggin. Put it on there. Yeah, I'm glad I read all that. That was definitely something everyone needs to hear. It is crazy. Longest reported case of rabies incubation was 25 years. Can you imagine that? Like, not. I guess that would be one of the better ways of getting rabies. You get it 25 years later, you die. That's got to be your best hope. If you get it, you hope it doesn't hit you until 25 years later. And that's why you take rabies shots if any wild animal bites you. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. You got to be careful with animals, that's all. Um, let's see, where is this? Um, do do do. Within 3 days of death, the enzymes from your digestive system begin to digest your body. Hey, put it to use. The actual scientific cure for hiccups is anal massaging, and it works. I'm gonna have to tell people that when I have the hiccups. I'm gonna start getting the hiccups. Guys, I need help. Anybody want to do this? Please? Come on. Let's see. Every single year, there are thousands of people in the U.S. alone who disappear. Most of them show up again, until usually the next day, but sometimes a few days, a few weeks, or even a few months later. However, out of these thousands of people, there are roughly 150 people every single year who disappear and simply never appear again. Nobody knows what has happened to those people. They might be dead. They might not be. We simply don't know. Yeah. Antibiotic resistance, yeah, I was talking about that earlier. That shit is definitely scary. In 2010, I got a MRSA infection. Spent 6 MRSA. My grandma called it MRSA. I don't know if it's MRSA, but it's MRSA, but I don't know if people say MRSA too. Spent 6 weeks in and out of hospital, ending in organ failure and sepsis. Nearly died. 2 months later, I was back in again. 2 months after that, I was back again. On my third admittance, they had run out of antibiotics to give me. The doctors researched for hours to find something they could try. Dug up an old antibiotic with terrible side effects and tried it. It didn't work. Luckily, one of the ones I had previously tried and had a bad reaction to during sepsis, so probably not the medication. They tried again and it worked. But being deathly ill while the doctors have no idea what to give you is a scary place to be. You're damn right that is. You're goddamn right. So I feel like if we were ever to get a cure for rabies, I don't know if they'd be antibiotics or whatever, but I'm sure the virus is pretty smart. It's been around for a very, very long time. So it will find a way to just kill you always. Dylan Klebold, one of the killers of the Columbine massacre, attended the school's prom 3 nights before the shooting. When he got home, he was talking to his mom and showed her the flask he'd brought to prom, explaining that they'd only drank a little bit. He told her, "I just wanted you to know you can trust me." It's so chilling that he could say that and less than 72 hours later participate in the killing of 13 other people and himself. Yeah, Columbine definitely started off a bad trend in America. I bet you if that never happened, it would not be what happens. Like, shit almost happens daily over here in America, but hey, we get through it and they don't do anything about it. So, yeah, that's America for you. In just one kiss, over 80 million bacteria are exchanged. Yep, I'll take that as hey, we're gonna be passing good bacteria. You drink kombucha, that's good ones. Kissing is definitely worth the bacteria exchange. The Amazon forest has a huge gap of virgin forest between Brazil and other countries, places kilometers away from the nearest cities. The Brazilian Institute for Native Indians, FUNAI, has gotten agents overlooking tribes, and they take flights over the forest and always end up spotting huts, fire pits, and bow and arrow armed men. There are plenty of unknown tribes hiding somewhere that huge forest. People never contacted by civilization. The fun fact is even the institute agents have no idea of number, types, and tribes there are inside. Can't track down, account, or detect their genealogy. Amazon forest is complex and humid place. You could find a family of elephants there inside and you won't see it from the sky. Yeah, it's definitely crazy to think about all these civilizations that are living out there that just have no technology. They're living in the Stone Age. But you can never visit there because they will kill you. Uh, I don't know. Do you guys feel like eventually they'll become technologically advanced? Like there'll be something that, like, I feel like the government might throw something on them, like not like a monolith, but something to get them going because they gotta learn, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their life expectancy is out there. No one knows, but I'm sure it's not that high. Um, but yeah, just like, can you imagine introducing them to like the Times Square or something? They would die. They'd be like, "What the fuck?" And I don't even know if they would be speaking. Like they would just be like, "Man, that is a building," and I don't even know what a building is, but I just came up with that. Um, this one's too long to read. I'm not reading another one. Oh, but it says this is completely fucked. All right, I gotta read it. Forgive me if I mispronounce this, but it's Khalid El Masri is a German and Lebanese citizen who was mistakenly abducted by the Macedonian police in 2003 and handed over to the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. I'm glad you put that in quotations. It's not like nobody knew about that. While in CIA custody, he was flown to Afghanistan, where he was held at a black site and routinely interrogated, beaten, strip searched, sodomized, and subjected to other cruel forms of inhumane and degrading treatment and torture. I swear, when I freaking talk like this too much, I don't know, just like something happens in my body where I need to stop. After El Masri held hunger strikes and was detained for 4 months in the salt pit, the CIA finally admitted his arrest and torture were a mistake and released him. He is believed to be among an estimated 3,000 detainees from the CIA abducted from whom the CIA abducted from 2001 to 2005. In May 2004, the U.S. ambassador to Germany, Daniel R. Coates, convinced the German Interior Minister, Otto Schily, not to press charges or to reveal the program. Al Masri filed suit against the CIA for his arrest, extraordinary rendition, and torture. In 2006, his suit Al Masri versus Tenet, in which he was represented by the American Civil Liberties Union, I can't read right now, ACLU, was dismissed by the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. There's so many fucking organizations and shit. Based on the U.S. government's claiming the state's secret privilege. The ACLU said the Bush administration attempted to shield its abuses by invoking this privilege. The case was also dismissed by the appeals court for the Fourth Circuit, and in December 2007, the United States Supreme Court declined to hear the case. On the 13th December 2012, okay, you could tell this guy copied and pasted, Al Masri won an Article 34 case at the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. The court determined he had been tortured while held by CIA agents and ruled that Macedonia was responsible for abusing him while in the country and knowingly transferring him to the CIA when torture was a possibility. It awarded him compensation. This marked the first time that CIA activities against detainees was legally declared as torture. The European Court condemned nations for collaborating with the United States in these secret programs. Yeah, that is completely fucked, I guess. It just makes you think about what other shit's going on. Like, how many tests the CIA is doing right now on people? Like, we don't know, and we'll probably never know. Unless it happens to you. That would just, you better hope it doesn't happen. I mean, that is just, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I had to send this message. All right, let's see here. All these comments will be read by a robotic voice and played on YouTube. This will also cause many students to procrastinate by listening to that video. This comment will be edited out of the video. Not in this one. I'm going to be reading it because I am a real person. Um, you might feel like the healthiest person in the world and yet still randomly die in your sleep. Sudden arrhythmic death syndrome is just one example. There are tons of small obstructions and irregularities that your heart could be suffering from that go completely unnoticed by you, your friends, and your doctors. You might be at increased risk of just passing on when you go to bed tonight, and no one would even suspect as much until you actually died. Yeah, that's definitely scary to think about. Disturbing fact before you go to bed, right? I wouldn't go to bed if I were you. Thousands of children are sexually abused every day by adults they're supposed to be able to trust. Yeah, that's fucking. It's always the uncle or the dad. Yeah, fuck 'em. A lone pilot was flying in Australia in 1978. He reported to air traffic control that he was accompanied by an aircraft above him. When asked to identify the aircraft, he replied, "It isn't an aircraft." His plane disappeared. I was never able to be found again. Yeah, that's you gotta wonder if that was a UFO or aliens or some shit. Could have been like CIA again. You never know. Wait. Oh, that was Australia. Never mind. Well, it could still be them. You never know. From what I remember, they think he was inverted and looking at the reflection of his pain in the water, plane in the water, and crashed. Definitely could be a possibility. See, there's always something logical that you can do, that you can bring up. Um, the sun will someday die. Yeah, it will. Who knows when? I mean, 4 billion years from now, that's what they say. But just put that into perspective. 4 billion years. Like, what the fuck, dude? Our lives are like most likely 70 to 80 years old in America. Like, you die before, you could die after that, but that's like the average. Um, that's just think about how small that is compared to like where we are, the universe. Who knows if the universe is really that old? 13 billion years, I think, is what they say. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe something like that where they have to figure that out, like, because you can't really prove that to be true. You could use like scientific evidence and stuff, but yeah, it's really based on what people are saying that you can make choices on and what you can think of, but yeah, I really don't know if the universe is 13 billion years old. I really don't know if we're in a universe. I really don't know. It's scary to think about anything that's involved with space. Like I said before, it is scary, and the sun will just devour. I think will it get up to Mars or will it devour Mars too? Like, just think about that. Well, what's gonna happen? Like, Earth is gonna be cooked. Earth is gonna die by then anyway. By the way, we're fucking ruining it inside its own planet after giving us all this life, and now it's just like sudden increase in temperature. This winter was the worst winter of my life. It snowed the other day on Sunday. I was like, what? Usually in March, if it snows, I'm like, I'm not that surprised. But now it's surprising. Like, what the hell? There was no snow this winter. It snowed once, one time. It used to snow like maybe a couple times a week, and the snow would be on the ground the whole winter. Like, there was nothing this year. Now, I'm just worried about what summer's gonna be, man. It was hot last year. It's gonna be hotter this year. And it's only gonna get worse, dude. The coldest day this year was like probably like 15 degrees. I don't even know, but last year it was still pretty cold. There was that day where it was negative 30, I think, around there. That was Christmas Eve. Yeah, that was fun. I prefer cold weather over hot weather, unless I'm on vacation or something. That's when I like hot weather, but working in it, no, I prefer the cold. Like, not negative 30 cold, but like, I like 20 degrees, 20, 30 degrees. That's my favorite, honestly. Today, it was like, it started off cool and then it became like 65 out. and it's just kind of uncomfortable because you're like you come into work and it's cold, so you wear pants, a hoodie, a fleece, and then a couple hours later it's like it's warm enough where you don't need any coat on and you don't need a winter hat and you're still wearing pants and it's hot. So like it's just terrible weather to be in. Like if I was off, it would be a lot better because then I know what I can wear. But like when you go into work, you go into work with what you're wearing at 7:30, and you got to change it. You got to take off these clothes, and like yeah, it's just annoying. So I hate this weather. It's gonna be the exact same tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be 62, but it's probably gonna be cold in the morning. May not be as cold as it was this morning, but yeah. The average American consumes over 150 pounds of sugar every year. That's approximately 187 grams of sugar per day for my metric system friends. Yeah, that is crazy. I don't drink pop or anything. I think pop is just not good for you at all. It's like the most unhealthiest food you can have. Um, so I cancel it out by eating cookies. I love cookies. These Loft House cookies. It's not Loft House, but it's like an off brand, and they're actually really good. They just came out with them. I've been eating those. They're like 15 grams of sugar. I eat a couple of those usually almost every day now. Um, and sometimes I don't have it, but ever since I started buying them like a couple weeks ago, I've been having them every day. They're so good. But yeah, I save my sugar intake for that. I always look at nutrition facts for sodium level and sugar content. The fat, the protein, maybe, I mean, if trans fat's on there, of course, I'm looking at that. And added sugars, if it's bad added sugars, that's the only things I look at. Like fat, protein, I don't care about what it says. It could be 100 grams of fat, 2 grams of protein. I don't care. Like fat, I'll be able to burn off while I'm walking at the post office. But sugar, I mean, that kind of shit builds inside you, and it's just not good for you to have so much of. So I watch that. Sodium definitely increases your blood pressure. Like you got to be careful with that. But yeah, calories I don't care about. I only look at the sodium and sugar. That's all. Space is so big, our minds literally can't comprehend the size of it. Yeah, you really can't. I mean, it is just you see the picture of it, like of the what the universe looks like, that infrared photo, um, and it is just you cannot even fathom how big it is. Like we see buildings and roller coasters and they look huge, but it's not even a freaking the size of a quark compared to the rest of the universe. It is just yeah. Um, but there are a couple theories on the universe. What I think is real. Like I think how I was saying everything is inside of something. Like we're definitely inside of something. I don't know what we're inside of. We could be inside another living being. Like we are the cells and stuff. I think I might have mentioned that before, but like the planets and shit, the stars. Well, we're all part of something inside of something, and like we controlled we have like a function to the universe. There's just so many of us and things that like it's not really noticeable, but yeah, something like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but I could see it happening. When you have scurvy, all your old scars and wounds open up due to the vitamin needed to maintain scar tissue. So for me, example, I had my jaw dislocated, my gums cut open from cheek to wait, they said cheek to remove wisdom teeth. Cheek to cheek to remove wisdom teeth. If I got scurvy, I would bleed uncontrollably from the inside of my mouth out. What would be your most horrifying scar? Luckily, I haven't had anything bad happen. I fell on my head when I was a kid, so there's that. Um, I fell off my bike, and I still have this scar here. It's actually like, it's not really noticeable anymore. Damn, is it really healing up? Yeah, I remember when I got that scar, dude. It was, oh my god, I fell right on my damn elbow, and it was tore up, and I was peeling it all the time, and like you cannot do that. I wanted to peel it so bad, like I was letting it heal there, and then I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, I need to peel, I need to peel, I need to peel. But I bet you the cells inside me were like, dude, what are you doing? We just worked so hard to do that. I'm sorry. Continue with your homeostasis. Thank God I'm not circumcised. All right, bathroom break. I'm back, bitches. Um, 51 is divisible by 17. That's pretty scary to think about. 17, 34, 51. Yeah, that should not be that should not happen. That's one of these facts on here that should not be true. Um, let's see. Whatever the shit is at the bottom of the ocean. Seriously, we know so little about this place and we've seen so much murderous shit down there that we only scratch the surface on how much nightmare fuel is actually down there. Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some sort of huge animal that has like a freaking base down there or some shit like go down and I don't know. I think that we should push our focus to that instead of trying to go to Mars. Like, dude, you go to Mars, you're gonna die. Like, I mean, I don't know. Rich people trying to kill themselves. You already saw that with the Ocean Gate, which maybe that's why they don't want to go down there because it is very high pressure. But Mars is not any safer. The ocean, at least it's on Earth. You don't have to travel there. Like, just I can't imagine going to Mars. Like, I can't. That's just so. It's such a stupid idea to me. Um, let's see here. You know how utterly batshit crazy Florida is? Actually, all states are that crazy. It's just Florida has rather lax privacy laws regarding legal matters, so they report it. That's actually pretty comforting to know. Well, not really. Well, is it? I don't know. Because yeah, there are crazy shit that happens. Like Florida, though, it's just a meme. You gotta assume everything happens in Florida when something happens, like something crazy. Something is eating the Milky Way galaxy. No, it isn't the plot for a Star Trek episode. It's really happening. In 2009, researchers found a cluster of galaxies moving at an extraordinary speed towards a small patch of sky between the constellations of Centaurus and Vela. Some unknown force is tearing away chunks of the galaxy, and astronomers still have no clue what exactly is causing it. It's been named Dark Flow. There's something big out there, far bigger than anything in our known universe. Such a behemoth would impose a kind of tilt on the universe, causing matter to move in one particular direction. As observations of the dark flow suggest, could be anything, up to and including another universe. Yeah, that's the great attractor, bro. I don't know if it's dark flow is another name for it, but maybe there's something else that's named like that. But yeah, the great attractor is definitely scary. Like, just thinking about we're going towards something. Are we ever going to figure out what it is? And is there multiple great attractors? Like, I feel like if we ever saw it, if we ever had the idea of what it would look like, it would be very scary. Oh shit, we're at the bottom. For me, the fact that maybe we'll never know what happened to flight MH370 is kind of disturbing, at least. Someone was just talking about this yesterday. I gotta look up the news. Because they said, um, yeah, someone was talking. One of my mail carrier coworkers was talking about it. Can we even find it? Shit. Maybe. I mean, he does a lot of acid, so I don't know. Um, Yeah, it is scary to think about, like, what the fuck even happened there. It's just like there's no answer to it. Maybe we'll find an answer one day. But, sometimes not knowing the answer, that's what makes it so fun. That's why I love The Sopranos. You don't, like, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but you can infer what happens at the end. But the fact that it may not have happened makes it much more fun for discussion. Now, I'm not saying MH370 disappearing is fun to discuss, but it is definitely more interesting to talk about. The Outlaw Pass, if it was if it actually was an avalanche, even though they said it's not even possible, which who knows? I mean, people speculate so much. They Russian investigators came out and said it was an avalanche. Who knows who's right? Like I think people are just saying it wasn't an avalanche, so they can continue discussion. But I do think there was something else that happened out there. But logically on Earth, there hasn't been that many unexplained things that like happen that are the cause of death like that. But man, just the way they died and everything, I don't know. It's really crazy to think about. If you guys never looked up the Dyatlov Pass, it is my favorite unsolved mystery of all time. It is just so interesting to learn about. I have the book that someone wrote about it. I forgot what the name of it was called, but he goes into a theory about how a sound was making them hallucinate and shit. And yeah, could be anything. And they said that there was radiation on some of their clothes, but apparently one of them or a couple of them worked at like a factory that had radiation or something. So that kind of see with the fact when you learn about that, it kind of ruins the fun of thinking about what could happen. So that's why I'm starting to think that maybe it wasn't that deep and there wasn't really that it wasn't that crazy what happened. Maybe there was something logical to explain it, but yeah, just learning about MH370, like who knows right now? Like I have no idea what happened to that damn flight. That guy, whoever was piloting it, just disappeared, no trace. I mean, did I have no idea. I have no idea how nobody's found it yet. It's just like, man, it's got to be down there though, right? It's got to be in the ocean somewhere. I mean, would it be weird if he like took like pilot to like an island or something and just like was like, all right, I'm your leader now. You're gonna listen to me. Maybe he became like a Jim Jones or whatever. I don't know. That's what's interesting about talking about this crap because you can have theories like that. You never know. But we reached the bottom of this. I thought it was going to go on for a lot longer than that, but I think there was just so many replies that the comments actually, because it said there's like 3,000 comments, so I was like, oh my god, this is going to take forever. But um, still a long time though, 56 minutes. We did a good job. Spotify is monetized right now, so that's why you've been hearing ads on there. And I'm actually they just started doing it. They didn't do it on all the audio that I put up there, just the ones that I uploaded since I monetized it. So yeah, so that's why I'm gonna try to upload more and more on there since my YouTube is demonetized. And I like it. I like how it's on Spotify because you can easily just skip 15 seconds ahead. You can easily skip it. With YouTube, there's unskippable ads. You gotta wait 5 seconds. Like with on Spotify, you could just skip, skip, skip. But hey, listen to them if you want to support me. I actually don't know if you listen to them, it's gonna make a difference. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I do listen to them. I like the sound of radio ads and shit. I don't know. I like the sound of them. So it's better than just seeing the same shit over and over again on YouTube. But yeah. All right. That was the most disturbing facts to keep you up at night. And I hope you have a good night. Are you going to go to sleep? What are you waiting for? Go to sleep. Oh, you can't? Oh. Well, stay up then.